Hi guys. So today is actually going to be very, very short. There's really just two examples I want to look at here. All we're going to do today is take exact values like we did on the last class, and we're just going to do some operations with them. So for example, this very first one, it's the cosine of pi over 6 divided by the sine of 11 pi over 6. So in order to figure this out, what I need to do is find both of those exact values. So I'm going to start with the cosine of pi over 6. I'm going to draw a pi over 6 angle, which means my reference angle would be 30. Connect it to the x-axis. Fill in my values. And I want the cosine, so that is the adjacent, over hypotenuse. Then I'm going to move on to sine of 11 pi over 6. So the sine of 11 pi over 6, that's going to fall in quadrant 4. Reference angle is still 30. So that gives me 1, root 3 and 2, but my 1 should be negative in the fourth quadrant. So my sine value here is a negative 1/2. So then at this point, it's just algebra. I just need to make sure that I do root 3 over 2 divided by negative 1/2. So just remember, when I divide fractions, I flip the second and multiply. So I'm doing root 3 over 2 times negative 2 over 1. Those 2's cancel out, and I'm left with negative root 3. The last one on there, it's really just learning about the formatting here. If you guys look, this says cosine squared pi over 4. By the squared being located where it is, what that is telling us to do, that's saying that I'm doing the cosine of pi over 4, and I'm squaring that entire value. So I'm doing the cosine of pi over 4 times the cosine of pi over 4. So where the squared is does actually make a difference, because what that's not saying that I'm doing the cosine of pi over 4 squared. That would mean I'm taking the cosine of pi squared over 16 if the squared was in that place. And we can't do that. We actually don't know how to solve a value like that. So whenever you see the squared written next to the trig function, in between the trig function and the angle, that's telling you find the cosine of pi over 4 or find the sine of negative pi over 4 and then square that answer. So right here, to do cosine squared of pi over 4, I'm going to start by finding the cosine of pi over 4. Pi over 4 falls in the first quadrant. Reference angle is 45, so those values are 1, 1, root 2. No negatives. My cosine value is adjacent over hypotenuse. So that's the value of cosine pi over 4. Then I'm going to square that value. And when I square fractions, I square the top and the bottom. So that should be 1 over 2. Then I'm going to add that to the second one. That is the sine of negative pi over 4 squared. So I draw the negative pi over 4 angle. That's in quadrant 4. Reference angle is 45. 1, 1, root 2. The 1 should be negative, though, which means that the sine of negative pi over 4 is a negative 1 over root 2. And I'm squaring that whole fraction, including that little negative, which means my final here would be a positive 1/2. Add them together, 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1. And that's it for today, guys. Just a little bit of review on exact values, and that's most of what we're going to be doing in class.